The yellow-robed figure before you traces a sign through the air. The sigil hovers there for a moment before becoming searingly bright like the sun. It burns your retinas and it burns away at your very mind. He then utters 3 syllables, krak, vrash, and the third I can't even communicate in my human vocal cords. But know this, upon the utterance of that blasphemous 3rd syllable, your mind is torn open and revelations come unbidden into it. You now know that the earth is but a fleck of blue dust whirling about the cosmos. Humanity is but bacteria clinging precariously to it. And in all of this void, all of this infinite nothingness that compromises our universe, you know we are alone. In this void you do not see God, but you have just seen the devil. Now, madness in RPGs. For some, it's a central theme, like in Call of Cthulhu. Others, it's a flaw that you take at character creation and you have to deal with it for the rest of your character's possibly short life. Either way, madness is a difficult thing to portray, and it needs to be done properly. After all, it's probably a major flaw that your character has taken, and it needs to be done in the correct manner. First, I want to address madness at character creation. Whether it's a Malkavian character, which is a vampire who is cursed with madness for the rest of forever, as a vampire, or perhaps your character is a veteran of the great Hobgoblin Wars, and he is haunted by the things that he has seen and perhaps done in these wars. The first thing that madness does is make your character unpredictable. Now, your character may very well be excellent at something. For example, the Malkavian Primogen in a vampire city. He may have, as far as anyone can remember in their immortal lives, he has always had the answer. Now, the city, let's say, is under siege by the werewolves. The Sabbat are gnawing away territory. The Anarchs are setting warehouses ablaze. The Camarilla is in trouble. And so the characters approach the Malkavian Primogen and ask him, please, what is the answer? What can we do to stop these calamities? The Primogen thinks, and he comes up with the answer. An answer that he knows to be true. He says, bring me all of the caitiff that you can find. I will flay the skin from them, and in that shredded meat, I will read the signs as to what we must do. And appropriately enough, his underlings say, Oi, what? Because this is an unpredictable character. His madness, you never know exactly what's going to happen. But he has had the answers for about 400 years, so maybe you go along with it. Madness, as a philosopher once said, is a lot like gravity. Sometimes all you need is a little push. Now, it's also important to know that a madman doesn't know that he's mad. Never play it cutesy. We've seen this in innumerable Malkavian videos, and that's for another time. A paranoid schizophrenic's world to himself makes perfect sense. When he sees someone walking a dog across the street, he knows that that the dog is, built by the CIA and it's filled with transmitters and they're, beaming information out of his house. A madman's world only is illogical to those on the outside. To your character, this is perfectly normal, as long as they are fully insane. Now, sometimes they're teetering on the edge of madness. They haven't completely gone over the precipice. And they are still fighting against these compulsions. Now, as Rorschach said, we do not live this way because we choose. We do it because we are compelled. And there it is, right in the words, isn't it? Obsessive compulsive disorder. They are obsessed with something. They cannot get it out of their brains. It will not leave. It will not stop. They are compelled to act upon it, whether it is hoarding it, whether it is destroying it, whether it is raising it up, whether it is tearing it down. They have to act on it, or it gnaws at their psyche, it gnaws at their very soul. That is a character with a madness. They cannot escape it, ever. This is doubly a curse for the Malkavians in particular. They are immortal. They will be like this forever. There is no cure. Now, this brings me to my next point. Madness is a curse. For some, it's their fatal flaw. Every character has one. You know, look at all of Shakespeare's tragedies. There's always a hubris that will bring that character down fatally. Your character's madness may very well be that. You need to, when playing a character with a derangement, you need to disassociate yourself from making logical choices. To a madman, these choices are logical. To you, as a player, standing on the outside, you might think, ooh, that's not a good idea. I shouldn't do that. But that thought does not occur to your character. They will make poor decisions, and you should make those poor decisions. I was playing a Malkavian who was obsessed with seeing signs and portents in all things. Everything was a sign. Everything was a mathematical problem to be decoded. And in that, he can see the future. In that, he can predict everything. In that, he can just step out of his madness for one moment and become a normal person. And to his dismay, there was a La Sombra who was using the obtenebration power and had made a wall of shadow. And this is, you don't even want to touch it. This is an extremely dangerous ability. But of course, my Malkavian, upon seeing it, this is an amazing signboard, and this is magic. This is something that he must study, something he must put his hand into something that he must walk through. And he barely escaped with his own life because he made the specific poor decision to mess around with a La Sombra's living evil shadow. Now, also never cheapen madness. It is a sorrowful thing. Now, I like the television show Fringe, but the character of Walter Bishop in that he's not a good portrayal of a character with a derangement. He's kind of cute. He's like, oh, I'm obsessed with flan, and today I'm going to eat red vines. And he's a scatterbrained professor is what he is. He doesn't have a derangement, even though they keep saying that he's been in a mental institution for 17 years. He's not. There are occasional good flashes of almost, Malkavian sort of antics, but it's not the best portrayal. So never cheapen a character's madness. This is a sad thing. Bring in memories before the character's madness. Bring in memories of his life before his mind was rent asunder by the mythos, or before he became a vampire and had his life and his mind forcibly taken from him. Have him look at those old photographs and remember, oh, I used to be whole, I used to have a family, but now there's always this imp gnawing at the back of my mind and I cannot get it out. It is your curse, you cannot take the ears off.